أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Welcome back to another episode of Sidewalk and Gutter University, where we graduate the streets through knowledge itself. My name is Ata, also known as Prince Gutter Ace, and we are back with another session for Black History Month. And this section is a continuation of our last episode about Black culture, but this one is entitled Black Culture, Influence, Leadership, and Responsibility. Okay? Now, there are 7 immutable laws of the universe that I learned as a youngin in martial arts, right? Seven immutable laws. Immutable means that they never change, that they're constant, they're eternal, and they're universal. And then they are order, balance, harmony, growth, love, compassion, and mercy. Today we're going to focus on the law of balance. Now, balance in the universe manifests itself in what is commonly known as yin yang. In Hinduism, it's known as Shiva and Shakti, and in the West they call it masculine or feminine, and the Islamic tradition is called the Jamal and Jalal, which means like Jamal is like beauty and majesty, right? So basically, it's God manifesting Himself in through the masculine principle and the feminine principle. Now, in nature, you get this. You get balance. You have a system of checks and balances in nature, and basically, the way nature manifests itself and the way that balance, the law of balance manifests itself in nature is that no one entity, animal, species just dominates in any ecosystem or any territory. Every species, every individual in the species plays a role, and it's a delicate balance. It's called the balance of life, the web of life, the ecosystem, right? The food chain. Now, the way that this manifests in nature, or one of the primary ways that this manifests in nature is, and that is like highlighted in martial arts, is the 5 animals. And so the 5 animals they represent they represent speed, balance, form, technique, and gracefulness. So speed is a leopard, speed, power, form, technique, gracefulness. So speed, leopard, power is the tiger, form is the snake because it has no form, technique is the dragon, and gracefulness is the crane. Now, the tiger is powerful, the crane is graceful. The tiger and the crane, they actually literally fight in nature. You could check it out on YouTube. You could go on YouTube and just search crane defeats 3 tigers, and the crane flies into the zoo, and it basically punked these 3 tigers. So why is this important? Because no one entity that has power, the only thing that's all powerful, only entity that's all powerful is the all powerful, right? So this not only applies in nature, but also in human affairs. So in human affairs, since 1492, basically the last like 500 and some odd years, white people have experienced an ascendancy. They've basically just things that basically historically things worked in their favor. They were able to, to subjugate iron and coal and make steel. They had the invention of the internal combustion engine. You had the expansion of Spain and Portugal, then of England, and then you have things just happened in their favor. They had gunpowder from China, and we can talk about pre-Columbian times in another episode, and how white people have not always ruled the world, and so that's another thing to consider. But now they have diplomatic, military, and economic global power, right? But why am I saying this? Because there is a prevailing notion, like a common belief among black people, that we don't have power, and we do, and it's called cultural power. Black people have cultural power, and cultural power rivals political power, and the reason why is white people can ratify and write treaties, right? Like international trade agreements and stuff like that. They have military power. They can bomb and nuclear, blow you to smithereens, right? They have economic power. They can boycott you and levy trade embargoes, right? They can write laws into effect that affect our lives. But these laws, all of that, all the above that I just mentioned, none of it has an impact on how people believe and think and feel, but culture does. Okay, culture is the realm of thoughts and beliefs and feeling. So historically, nations have resources. So where my phone at, man? Oh damn, my phone is up there. I'm recording with my phone. Okay, so because I pulled up like all of the most, I pulled up the resources that African countries have, that are prevalent in African countries. So like Algeria has the most oil in Africa. Ghana is not only the Gold Coast, but it also is the Ghana, and I think Benin are the primary producers of the world's chocolates. Madagascar produces vanilla. Congo produces, cobalt, uranium, plutonium. You have the Sudan that is an agricultural powerhouse. It could produce grain for all of the world. Saudi Arabia is the largest producer of oil in the world. I believe I'm forgetting, but certain countries are good with natural gas. Other countries have coal. Countries like Brazil have a lot of tropical fruit, like acai berries and mangoes and passion fruits, dragon fruits, stuff that we've never seen because the biodiversity in the Amazon rainforest. Countries like Peru have cocaine, right? Cocaine originated in the highlands of Peru. Coffee originated in Ethiopia. Rice originated in India. Corn originated in Mexico. You guys get the point. The point I'm making is that every nation has a natural resources that enriches them, upon which they built their economy. Okay? Now, black people, we've always been considered a nation within a nation. But as you know, through the process of slavery and Jim Crow and the black codes, we've had everything stripped from us, man. Culture, language, customs, religion, the right to own property, reading. We started from scratch in slavery. Now, during the Civil War, the federal government created an entity called the Freedmen's Bureau. It's an organization that was created to help black people assimilate into American society. Reading, writing, owning a business, getting a job, everything, right? That was dismantled right when the Civil War was concluding. And what happened is black codes and Jim Crow was instituted, sharecropping was enforced, the chain gang labor was enforced, and it was all done under the 13th Amendment, under what's called vagrancy laws. A vagrant is a person who's homeless and jobless. So if you leave the plantation, you don't have a home, you don't have a job, nigga, we gonna lock you up and you gonna do 20 years of chain gang labor. This is all white people after, right, upon the end of the Civil War and right into Reconstruction. At the same time, the federal government gives white people 160 acres of farmland through up to 160 acres of farmland through the Homestead Act of 1862, all throughout the Midwest, Kansas, Nebraska, Wyoming, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Idaho, okay, and then their overproduction of the Midwest led to the Great Depression and the Dust Bowls in like 1929, 1930s, Great Depression. So my question to you guys is when you're stripped from everything, when everything is taken from you, what do you have? What are you left with? And I'm gonna give you the answer. You're left with your soul. And your soul is connected to who? It's connected to God. And then that leads us to what? Negro spirituals. So all throughout slavery, we had nothing. He took everything away from us. But the way that black people got through the labor, the hard labor from sun up to sundown, the way that they kept their faith, the way that they stayed alive, man. They kept their mental health, whatever mental health they could, their sanity, right? Was through black Negro spirituals. Wade in the water, God's gonna trouble the water. Didn't my Lord deliver Daniel? Go down Moses, down by the riverside. Roll Jordan, roll, deep river. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. All of these are spirituals, Negro spirituals. And I just I'm working on my album, Who is Malcolm X, and I have a song, the song Savior, and in the song I allude to a lot of these Negro spirituals. Negro spirituals is the basis of black culture. I don't like the word African American. Black culture, right? Negro spirituals is the basis for black culture. From it derives blues, jazz, rhythm and blues, doo-wop, rock and roll, oldies/soul music, jazz. I just said that, big band, and then bebop, and then from jazz, and then funk, quiet storm, and hip hop, rap. Rap is the latest and the greatest. You understand what I'm talking about? And so, I want to give a shout out to the great W.E.B. Du Bois. You know, William Edward Burghardt Du Bois. You feel I'm talking about? One of the first graduates from Harvard University. You know what I'm saying? The author of The Souls of Black Folks, because we talking about our souls, right? So I heard. So there's one speaker, Rashad Abdurrahman. I want to give a shout out to Rashad Abdurrahman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. He has a channel called The Quran and Society, but he was talking about black people in black culture, and he basically alluded to how our soul. So because we don't have any land, they took everything away from us. We don't have any natural resources. That our souls is like the land, right? And our cultural creations and achievements is like our mineral resources, our gold, our cobalt, our oil, right? It's wealth generating assets, our cultural, intellectual property, our music, our lyrics, our dance, our soul is valuable, dog. So, and then that leads to the parable of the sower, because in the Bible, Jesus gives the parable of a sower, like a farmer who's sowing seeds, right? And he gives like 4 scenarios, but the basic idea is that The heart of the hearts and souls of people is like land, and the words of God that the prophets preach is like the seeds that's planted in the earth. And then if your heart is good, the seeds will take root and grow and become firm trees whose leaves are in the heavens and whose roots are firmly rooted. So at this point, I want to give a shout out to my nigga Michael Jackson. You feel me? Because black people, look, think about this. Black people, nigga, we got Michael Jackson, nigga, nigga, what? Nigga, look, if nothing else, like God gave us Michael. Like, okay, we got Martin Luther King, we got Harriet Tubman, we got W.E.B. Du Bois, we got Booker T. Washington, Marcus Garvey, we got Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mary McLeod Bethune, we got Lonnie Johnson, inventor of the Super Soap, nigga. We got Michael Jackson, whew, the greatest entertainer in American history, period. Black man, okay? Black music. So and that leads us to another thing. Black music is black music. They always want to like define our genres, and bro, black music is black music, okay? Period. So, and this leads me to Claude Anderson. Claude Anderson is a extraordinary thinker, brilliant strategist, and he has this idea called powernomics. Powernomics is basically using economics to leverage that into to leverage you into a position of power, autonomy, sovereignty, right? And his whole idea is build businesses where we dominate in population and spending patterns. So, for example, Koreans dominate in hair care and black hair care, but Koreans aren't black. So basically, we should dominate in the areas where we know we spend money, and in the geographic locations where we know we're the majority, right? So his powernomics is it's a five-story house, you could say. Five-story building. The first story is business and industry. Farming, production, retail, wholesale, business to consumer, but business and industry, manufacturing. And then this is where the vision of the Honorable Marcus Garvey comes into play, because Marcus Garvey, not only can we use our artistic assets to leverage us into positions, to have like investment capital, right, to create like an economic pool, but then we can go over to Africa where they have minerals and then do business with them, and then we can link up and amplify like that, okay? So he says the first level is business and industry, the second level is politics, the third level is police departments and court systems, fourth is media, including radio, TV, news, and cable, and now social media. And the fifth is educational system from kindergarten to PhD. So and this leads me to Tupac. Tupac had this idea of like, if I was able to sell 6 million copies, physical copies on this single, I Ain't Mad at You, then I know I could get 6 million people to vote for me. The Snoop Dogg sold 3 million. The Dog Pound did 2 million. So that's 9, 11. That's 11 million. 11 million people. Basically, what he's saying is we leveraging your fans into your political constituency. And then he had this idea of like doing like a national or regional tour, and the only way you can get in is if you have a certain GPA, and each rapper sponsoring a certain city and mentoring students, and he had an elaborate plan. It's in his interview. It's interview called The Nigga Kingdom. And so, which leads me to Nipsey Hussle, because Nipsey Hussle was a fulfillment and an embodiment of Tupac's vision, right? And so this is the vision. What if every artist, athlete, doctor, lawyer formed investment groups in their formed investment groups to develop their cities and regions? What would Black America look like? So like this leads me to Prince, because Prince was saying, let's have ownership of our music, of our that is he basically had a long-standing feud with Warner Brothers, because he said he signed a contract when he was like 18, 19. And then he was like the cash cow of Warner Brothers, and then he went back to renegotiate, and they basically telling him that they want to continue on with the slave contracts of the record company owning everything, owning the masters, like the master recording, like you actually go into the studio and record, right? And the record, you wrote it, you composed the music, you recorded it, it was your effort, right? But the record company owns that. Like what? It's slavery. So shout out to Nipsey Hussle, Claude Anderson, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson bought the Beatles catalog. Tupac, Prince, right? We talking about Black culture, but influence, leadership, and responsibility. So here's the thing. Black culture is influence. We influence the way people think, believe, and feel, right? That means we're de facto leaders. Like, cause think about it, man. Back when Hillary Clinton was running for president, women looked up to Beyonce more than they looked up to Hillary Clinton. Think about that, dog. People look up to like artists more than they look up to politicians. Okay, so influence is leadership, which means we have a responsibility, and that leads me to my last point, which is this ongoing cultural battle between Kendrick Lamar and Drake is not. It is about individuals, but then Kendrick Lamar and Drake are like symbols for the corporate machine and the culture. And here is where I differ. Here is where I'm taking it to another area, right? I'm proud of Kendrick Lamar. I love Kendrick Lamar. We from the same area in Compton. We both went to Centennial High School. He don't know me. I don't know him, but just shout out flowers, man. So he basically wrestled the direction of our culture or out of the hands of the corporate machine. But here's my thing. What are the defining, and this will probably be the next series. What are the defining principles of our culture? What direction do we go in? Now that we know that we still dictate the direction of our culture, is it gonna be all about gang banging and bitches and hoes and slanging dope and killing each other, and or are we gonna really elevate? Nipsey Hussle was a reader, bro. Tupac was a reader, man. Prince and Michael Jackson, them niggas was smart. They was intelligent. They were. It's not about. So that's the topic of another discussion. But I'm saying, we got control of the culture. Do we keep it on a low level, or do we elevate? Do we transition? Do we leave thug life behind? أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.